Kellyanne Conway, advisor to President Trump, is facing criticism after she falsely spoke of a Bowling Green massacre by Iraqi refugees. She acknowledged and corrected her mistake Friday morning on Twitter. Joining us to discuss the fallout is WSJ reporter Devlin Barrett. Devlin, welcome. Conway's comment came during an interview with Chris Matthews on MSNBC's Hardball Thursday as she discussed the executive order by President Trump suspending immigration from 7 countries. Let's listen to the soundbite.
I bet there was very little coverage. I bet it's brand new information to people that President Obama had a 6-month ban on the Iraqi refugee program after 2 Iraqis came here to this country, were radicalized, and they were the masterminds behind the Bowling Green Massacre. Most people don't know that because it didn't get covered.
So, Devlin, did Matthews immediately catch the error?
No, he basically just went on to the next question, which is a little too bad because I'd like to hear a longer explanation of it in the moment, but no, he didn't.
And then Conway tweeted a correction Friday morning. Here's what she tweeted on @Hardball, at NBC News, at MSNBC. I meant to say Bowling Green terrorists as reported here, and that's a link to an ABC News report. Devlin, back us up. What was Conway referring to?
Yeah, it's mangled in a lot of different ways. It is true that it's an important case about refugees. What actually happened in Bowling Green was that 2 Iraqi refugees came to this country, and after they were admitted into this country, the U.S. government realized that they actually had some pretty damning evidence against them from their time in Iraq, specifically that one of them had been apprehended and confessed to being an insurgent, and the U.S. military had a copy of a videotape of that confession. And they also realized after the fact that there was a fingerprint on an unexploded bomb that matched one of these guys. So they created a sting operation in which these guys eventually committed a lot of crimes for which they eventually pled guilty and were sentenced.
So she was sort of pointing to a legitimate case of refugees who got in who shouldn't have.
Exactly. Now, where her thing falls completely apart, though, is the notion that there was a massacre here. That didn't happen. There was no, the official said at the time, these men were not planning to do anything here. And she also has a weird reference to them getting radicalized once they came here. That's not what happened. They were involved in terrorism before and then came here, which weirdly would be a stronger argument for her to make, but that isn't actually the way it went down. So, fairly well mangled, I'd say.
And precarious, considering that Kellyanne Conway is the one who coined the phrase alternative facts, correct?
Well, right, and it sort of feeds into that whole question mark around her statements or other White House official statements that they seem to have a poor grasp of facts a lot of the time, or at least some of the time. And I think because she used the phrase alternative facts and everyone made fun of that, the fact that she's now said Bowling Green Massacre and there was no such massacre is only going to feed more into the folks who are taking shots at her for that stuff.
Which it certainly did, because social media ate this up. There were a flurry of responses to this. Isn't that right, Devlin?
Well, right, and there were people are making jokes, and I kind of enjoyed some of the jokes. The notion that there could be a massacre that everyone forgot and that the media didn't cover is kind of a head scratcher for me.
Right.
But I think it feeds into this whole question of how much of this are they making up?
Do you think that tweet was enough of a correction?
I think it's weird, and I think it's a funny thing that. You have to, I don't know how you walk back a statement like there was a Bowling Green massacre. I honestly don't know what the right way is to walk something like that back, other than to just say, I was wrong, that wasn't the point at all. This is about screening of refugees, and I shouldn't have said it.
Right.
A tweet's fine. I'm sure she'll be asked about it the next time she's on TV.
All right, and we will be following up with you on that. Devlin, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Tanya.